Fire chiefs are meant to be the protectors of life, the ones who stand tall in the face of danger. But what if the danger was coming from the man in charge? Brian Keith Easterling wasn't just a fire chief, he was a ticking time bomb. As the pieces of his shocking crime began to come together, Pensacola, Florida would never be the same. What drove him over the edge? And why did the town never see it coming? This is a story of how one man's dark secret burned brighter than any flame he'd ever put out. Welcome back, everyone, to True Crime Desk. I'm Richard.
I'm Maria.
And today we're going to be going over the case of Brian Keith Easterling. So this guy was a volunteer firefighter in Baker, Florida. So what do you know about this case?
Well, I know that they were buddies and they worked together in an auto shop. They worked on cars. I guess they made them all fancy and stuff.
Right.
And they were friends for years. I mean, a lot of years.
Yes, they were.
He was actually a fire chief, I think. Yeah, fire chief. Yeah.
I think it's what it said, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yeah, he was a volunteer fire chief.
Yes.
To be exact.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had his buddy, he owned it was a Mako repair shop, but they did a lot of classic cars and they would buy cars together and he would do I think that Brian would do the mechanical stuff.
I believe so, yes.
And and that's what he would do for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is pretty recent too because it was July 2022 is when this incident happened.
Yep,
now they lived in sorry.
No, go ahead.
They lived in Baker, which is a small town in the Panhandle. It's known to be a close-knit community and a quiet atmosphere. Like I said earlier, Brian was a fire chief, which obviously is a very respected position, that's for sure. So this is another case involving somebody with a high standing, doing things you wouldn't expect,
Exactly, and friends. It's weird how the two cases are kind of similar. Friends for years and good, like you said, respectable jobs. And then all of a sudden, here we are.
Yeah, she's talking about the previous case we did, which was the one last week. So have you seen that? It was a police chief shooting a judge. So that's what she's talking about. They are similar in a way. This is a fire chief, and the other one was a police chief.
Right.
So
So if you haven't seen that one, go and watch it because it's really, it's not finished. It's still in progress of, trial hasn't started yet, but definitely a good watch. So you'll be updated once we get to the trial process of it.
That is correct. 100%. Now the victim in this case he was 63 years old and his name was Michael Evers. And Michael owned a small shop in Pensacola. As I mentioned earlier, it was a Mako repair shop, to be exact. And said Michael,
excuse me,
he went by Mike, and he loved working on classic cars, hanging out with his friends, and he especially liked hanging out with his dog. His dog's name was Jack, so it was his best buddy, and he was also known being friendly and hardworking. So he was well liked in the community. It's like, I don't know how big Pensacola is, but I know that people around the area that liked him a lot, and he was known to work on the cars and stuff, as we said earlier. The two of them.
Right. Yeah, he was, like you said, well known and well liked. These cases are tragic, to be honest with you. They really are.
Yeah. I know I have to mention it again. I apologize. Once again, we're having a problem with the internet. So we have dropouts or funny noises. It's the Zoom and, going to try to do something else in the future, I'm thinking, because this is kind of getting old. So it's the best we can do. So I apologize once again. So on July 22nd, 2022, police were called to the scene of a shooting. So the victim was found deceased in his own business, and witnesses reported hearing gunshots and seeing Easterling leaving the shop soon afterwards. So they pretty much were, they pretty much knew who was there last, and they didn't know exactly, but people had seen him leave. So the police arrested Easterling shortly after that time, and they actually sent the SWAT team to his house, which is kind of ironic. Not ironic, but kind of unique, because during his interrogation, he's only wearing shorts, no shirts, no shoes, nothing.
Right.
They completely caught him off guard.
I left there and Michael's truck came straight to the fire department.
Okay. What if I told you I have you on video? walking up behind Mike when y'all are over by the orange truck, red truck, talking, and you pull a pistol out of your right front pocket.
Yeah, so it didn't take long after they confronted him with the video, because he didn't realize there was a video. He didn't know there was video in there. So after they confronted him with the video, he came out. He admitted that he shot. He admitted that he shot him after he turned his back. He turned his back. They were standing there talking. The video shows them talking. Now, I didn't see the video. I'm just reporting what they said the video showed.
Right.
Did you see You didn't see the video, did
No,
you?
I'm not sure they even showed the video. I didn't see it.
I didn't think so. But I'd say they said there in the video they were seen talking in his, standing there talking in the repair area. And then when he turned to walk away, he shot him in the back of the head. And then he said that he basically said he did it because he owed him, what was it, $25,000 or $20,000?
Yeah, $25,000. Yeah.
Then he said he promised it to him, and then he said, "We'll go to the shop. I'll have it at the shop." And then he gets to the shop and he says, "I don't have it. I owe other people." So he felt like he's being, taken advantage of, and he was lying to him. That's what he claims why it happened.
Right.
So then he rifled through his pockets, and then I guess he stole his truck and trailer of some sort, saying that tried to, because he owed him money, so he figured he'd, sell that. I don't know how he planned to pull that off.
Right, and he stole his truck and he went right back to work to the fire station. There was some big meeting or something that was going. He just went back to work like no big deal.
Yeah, I think there was a meeting. A whole bunch of guys had to get together. Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing that you've seen that happens all the time is they do these things and they just move on. I don't know. I don't know how you can do that.
I don't know how you could literally execute your best friend for money.
Yes.
And then, like you just mentioned, just drive away and go back to work like no big deal. I don't understand it.
That is a great way to put it. He executed him. That is exactly what he did to him. Yeah. I mean, it's money, dude. Seriously, I understand you get frustrated. I mean, maybe I don't condone violence, but maybe popping the chops or something.
Or get an argument or whatever. Stop your friendship or sue. But
yeah.
And the thing is, it's like almost, from my understanding, there was a video of the outside of the premises, and it showed him arriving there and kind of looking around and acting like suspicious. So it almost seems to me like he already had it in his mind. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, he said that he always carries, he has a concealed carry, and so that's why he had it. But they were saying that he was, obviously didn't look around enough. There's cameras and he didn't know they were there. So what was he looking at?
Yeah. I think he was looking to see if there was any people around.
I think that's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah. And so he later on, I don't know if you heard later on during the trial, that he said that when he turned to walk away, that he knew that he had a firearm in his office. So he was afraid he was going to get a hold of it. So he shot him in self-defense. So he shot someone in the back of the head in self-defense.
Right. Ridiculous. I mean, and the thing is, it doesn't match your video when you were talking to the police and talking to your wife, saying exactly what you did and why you did it. So it doesn't match. I don't understand these people thinking they can get on get in there and change their story when they have a video showing everything, showing the actual crime, and then showing him saying it out of his own mouth.
I don't know. You got Casey Anthony.
Right.
You got
but she was Simpson. Pretty, and that's helped.
You got O.J. Simpson. Those are two,
notorious. Yep.
In my opinion, those two cases are, you get people that I guess they can't think their way out of a bag, and they just let these people go. So you never know. You might as well throw it out there. Maybe you'll get lucky with 12 people that can't think that good.
Yeah, apparently.
trying not to be rude, but
Well, sometimes it's true.
So you don't know. So I know he was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. That much I know.
Right. A couple of things I was going to mention was the first thing I actually seen was the interrogation. And like I said, so I thought Audie was just in shorts. I didn't know about the other stuff that you mentioned. And then when the wife came in, I was having a hard time not crying, to be honest with you.
What were you thinking?
Nothing. I wasn't. Just my rage. I'm sorry. I wasn't. I know. Please, just listen to me. Listen to me. I know. I'm not worried about me. I deserve whatever happens to me. I know. I know. you think I'm not gonna ever get to see my kids or my grandkids or you? But please.
But how did you do that? He was your friend.
I loved him like a brother.
You're capable of shooting somebody in the back of the head like that. I mean, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it is. And it's weird. It made me think, life about life. I don't know why I'm emotional today. About life is like, my thought was, he just ruined so many people's lives. I mean, his own, he's going to go to prison forever. His wife and family, he's there and tell her, oh, sell everything, have your dad help you, blah, blah. Do you not understand what you're doing to your family? What you're changing everybody's life. And then his family, because his family, during the trial, they spoke and they were just like, one of the like family members, a gentleman, said that he's hoping for the day they get a phone call that he's unalived. They're not. There's no sympathy there, and they're
why would there be?
Yeah, and they're the ones that mentioned execution and all this stuff. So, yeah, people do these things. They don't think about anything but themselves. They don't think about the big picture. Yeah,
it's just that moment. They're in that moment, and they don't think beyond that actual moment. Yeah. Because even a lot of times when they do this stuff, immediately after, there's regret.
Right.
It's almost like the people that decide that they want to go to the Golden Gate Bridge and, see how the water feels.
Right.
Let's just put it that way. And as soon as they start, they're on their way down and they realize, I don't want to know what the water feels like. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So,
right.
It's an instant regret. They think in that actual moment, not just before, not just after. It's literally that moment, and they don't. It's like you said. It's a good point. It's a really good point that I don't think people mention enough or think about it. I don't know. I don't know what people think. I'm just saying in general. It seems like that is it. It's the ripple effect.
Correct.
Of what happens. It's not just the victim's family, his own family. Like he's saying, if you got to sell the house, her whole life is. I mean, within a few minutes, her husband is going to jail, realizing that he's an Emmer.
Yep.
That somebody they knew is gone.
Yep.
Now I got to sell the house that I was going to be in. I was just getting ready to fix the garden or whatever. And your whole life is just immediately
no more husband, no
changes.
More. I mean, it's just like
everything just changes immediately.
I mean, it's scary. It's scary for the other people. For her, it's scary. It's sad for everybody. And it's like when you think about it that way, it makes me angry at the person. It's like, how dare you? People need and I'm not going to say I haven't done this. I've gotten angry and lashed out with my mouth or whatever here, at times or whatever. But our anger, we got to pull our anger in. I mean, it's like take a second and think before you jump and do something ridiculous like shooting your best friend, in the back of the head. I mean, come on.
Well, I know one thing. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but you can maybe use it. They do in sports where you have these famous people and famous players and big play or something they lose. And right away they want to stick the mic in their face. What do you think? What do you think? And they tell them a lot of times, don't say anything. Take a certain amount of time. Because a lot of times you hear like even Evel Knievel, which I'm going way back because I'm an old guy. He crashes in England. I don't remember exactly where it was. And he right away gets up and says, I'm done. You're never going to see me jumping down. I quit. And then after he starts thinking about it, wait a minute.
Right. That totally was not him. He would never quit. So
exactly. So he turns around and changed his mind because he was in that moment.
Right. Pain.
And that's the other thing is
exactly.
So they're in that moment. So, take a second and think about it. Think about maybe something other than you. Sure, he owes you money. Sure, he might be, in your opinion, he might be taking advantage of you because one thing for me, disrespect and stuff like that, that's my number one thing. I can't handle that.
And I think it's a male thing as well. It's a huge thing.
But you have to take that step back and think, hey, what about your wife? Is it worth throwing everything away?
Right.
Talk to her about it. You know what I mean? It's just money when it gets right down to it. And it's just like all that for that amount of money that he supposedly owed you, you could figure it out. So if you go home, if he would have went home and told his wife exactly how he was feeling and how upset he was, they could have talked it through a little bit.
Right.
Then then you could realize, okay, well, it's not as bad, or we'll figure it out, we'll take him to court or whatever. But you move on. And it's sometimes you feel like those moments are forever, especially when you're young and you're dating or whatever, and your life is over, and it's a tragedy. You don't realize that you're like 14, 15. Well, you shouldn't be that 14 dating, but that's all I do. But you're in your 20s or whatever, and you're like, man, you can get 30, 40, 50, and you look back at that, man, I thought my life was over then.
I thought that was the end of the world, and it's ridiculous. It's not,
Yeah, and this is not a child. I think what was he?
I think he's like
50-some years
54 or
old,
something.
Yeah, so he was, he's not a child and he should know better than that. But this, it's like you said, though, it's a really good point, is that a ripple effect of what happens everybody down the line and the families on both sides. So would always hope that the victim's family would not be disrespectful to her. I'm not saying they were, I'm saying in general.
Right.
And to them, because it's not her fault. It's not his child's fault. It's not his mom or dad's fault. Sometimes when you have these serial killers and stuff, it's not their fault. Maybe they weren't the perfect parent, but they sure didn't raise them or want them to be a carer and hurt a bunch of people. Yeah. So like I said, he was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. And so I think that means no possibility of parole over there. And I think he's getting out. Not before he's wheeled out, as they say.
Right.
So I didn't see any of that court stuff that the family wanted, the death penalty and stuff. It doesn't surprise me, but I can understand that in a sense. I try to look at things, try to be fair. You know what I mean? I thank God, I've never been in that situation, and hopefully I never will be. But it's really hard to. These things can get pretty heavy after a while when you do case after case. It's just like all you see is the worst of people.
Right. It does get heavy. I take a break once in a while from watching this stuff because we research and try and find things to talk about. And a couple of times I had to just like, okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break because it's getting way too depressing. But but it's unfortunate. This is life, and it happens all the time, and it's sad. But
yeah. So is there anything I missed? You have anything else?
no, I don't have anything else. I think we got it all. Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't. That's pretty much what I found. I mean, it's not a heck of a lot. We know who did it. He admitted it. When he went to court, did he? I don't know. Did you see? Did he try to weasel his way out with a different excuse they normally do, or what? I don't know.
I don't know either. I couldn't find the court in video at all. I read it. I read what happened. I couldn't find a video, so I'm not sure it was actually public.
Televised.
The actual trial, I don't think it was public because I couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, it was a little while back.
Yeah, I had to read
televised.
on it. Yeah.
I remember when they didn't even televise any of them.
I know. To me, it's like, especially with these really big, important trials, and when they say they don't want to put in public, it bothers me because I feel like, what do you want to hide something? I mean, I don't like that. I think that the public should be able to see what's going on in the court. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, big important trials as far as the media goes. Every trial is important.
Well,
when it comes to the family.
That's true. That's true.
So those families, they're just as important as the other ones. Yeah, they're just as important. I know what you meant. Yeah. So we don't want to misunderstand that. Every one of them is as important as the next one. I don't care what color you are, what race you are. I don't care. Everybody
I agree.
deserves justice, and everybody needs to be treated fairly and equally. So that's the foundation of this country, and we need to stick to that. So yeah, even though the media might not think certain cases are worthy, they're all worthy in my opinion.
Right.
I think we both agree on that.
One thing I'll bring it real quick. What bothers me about trials is I learned this, and I realized this because I've watched trials forever, and I realized this watching once again the Baldwin trial. That
he makes it in every video.
The reason that this stuff came up and they figured out that they were withholding evidence just because they had these wonderful lawyers and had all this money. But this stuff happens every day in courts, and people like you and I that don't have a lot of money, that maybe couldn't even get a lawyer and has to get a public defender. This stuff happens all the time, and it's not found out. And to me, that's not okay. It's not. I just think things need to be changed in that regard to people that cannot afford these big, huge lawyers to get the same amount of treatment. So anyways, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I have a lot of respect for the public defenders because they're doing it because it's the right thing to do, and they're doing the best they can. A lot of times they're not funded all that well. Right. A lot of times they're not getting paid at all. It's not an easy job, but I have a lot of respect for people that do that because everybody deserves a good defense. Everybody should have an equal chance to prove their innocence no matter what, because you are innocent until you're proven guilty.
Correct.
That is the way we work. That has to be that way.
Correct.
So, all right. So I think we can both get off our soapbox now. I think we're done.
I think we're done.
It's kind of hurting my feet anyway. Those things are hard to stand on. All right. So I think that's it. So unless you have something else.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right, guys. So if you got something out of this video, Appreciate a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, all that stuff. Share it with your friends. We know the help we can get. We're trying to grow this channel. And we appreciate all the subscribers we do have and the comments we get. So if there's something we missed, something that, you want to discuss, put it down in the comments for sure. We definitely want to communicate with you guys. Really important.
Yeah.
So unless you have something else, that's going to do it.
Okay, that's it.
All right, guys. So until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, to always mind your surroundings. Bye.
Bye.